Welcome everyone. My name is Gayle, and I'm so glad you're joining me today because we're going to get a little wild. We're going to play with a pose called Wild Thing, which is this beautiful, expressive, backbendy kind of pose that is really fun to do. It's a little bit challenging if you haven't done it before, but it's really fun. So we're going to build up to it, and we're going to transition with going in and out of the pose. So you'll have lots of chances to practice it. But always remember to listen to your body. If something doesn't feel right, just stop and pause, take a break, do a little modification, and then come back to it when you feel ready. But there's no need to feel like you have to get it right the first time. So let's start by centering ourselves, just closing your eyes. And the breath, the inhale, really can lift you up. It's very open and expressive. And then the exhale helps you to balance that lifting, that energy, vibration, with a little more grounding, a little more relaxation. And just like to open up into a back bend, we have to be grounded. So we need both parts of the breath, the inhale and the exhale. We need to be wild and free, but also grounded and centered. So see if you can feel your ribs fill up 360 degrees, this big spherical breath. And then as you exhale, just feel the relief and the softening of letting go. We'll just stay here for a couple more breaths so you can explore the feeling of the breath on your own. And then gently open your eyes, and let's start by warming up our spine, coming onto our hands and knees in tabletop. Turn your fingers towards your knees, and we'll warm up the wrists a little bit because this is a weight-bearing pose on your wrists, so it's always nice to warm them up. You can circle around your wrists and feel the pressure on different parts of your hand as we move around. Reverse the direction of your circles, staying mindful and present. Good. Sit back on your heels, interlace your fingers, stretch your arms forward and up, and reach over to the left, and come back to center, reach over to the right. We'll do that one more time each side. Nice, elongated side stretch. So now let's come back onto our hands and knees, and now flip your hands. So the top of your hands is on the floor, fingers spread nice and wide, and just gently rock a little bit forward and back. So you feel a gentle stretch on the top of your hands. And let's try another variation, another way to do that. So make fists with your hands, lock the knuckles together, start with your elbows bent, back of your hands on the floor. And then to get into the stretch, straighten your arms, pushing the top of your hands down into the floor and into the opposite hand. So you can bend and straighten your arms. And for those of you that like the first one we were doing, you could come back and gently rock forward and back. Then flip your hands, place your hands on the mat, and start to grip the mat with your hands. So you're gently pulling the pads of your fingers towards your wrist and feeling your fingers ignite and muscular energy all the way up into your arms. On your next inhale, send your chest forward, shoulders back, tailbone up for a back bend. And on your exhale, round your spine. And just gently go back and forth. So I think it's a really good idea every time you come to the mat to take those few breaths to center empty your mind, and do some kind of movement, some kind of cat-cow spinal movement. And walk your hands forward, walk your knees back, come onto your forearms in the Sphinx pose. Stretch out through your toes, lift up through your heart. Find a gentle back bend. Seeing if you can pull that back bend up into your upper back. So the low back remains open and pain-free. And lower your chest down, bring your hands back. So your fingertips are just below your shoulders. Lift your shoulders away from the floor. Press the top of your feet into the floor and curl up into your cobra. And exhale, lower down. So actually you might want to start with a little bit of a lower cobra. So press up and think of pulling or pushing the back of your shoulder blades forward. So you have a sensation of your back bend in your upper back. And you can play with gradually coming up a little bit higher. But really think of using your back muscles and not just your hands and your arms. Matter of fact, lift your hands slightly above the floor. Engage your legs by pressing your feet down and hugging your legs in, and see if you can lift up just a little bit without using your hands. And lower down. Inhale, lift up again. Exhale, lower down. One more time. Inhale, lift. Now place your hands down. Keep that curve in your upper back, the curl in your upper back. Come on up into your cobra and rest back into child's pose. Breathe in your back body. Breathe into your back body, feeling the rise and fall of your ribs. And tuck your toes. Lift your hips up into downward facing dog. Bend one knee at a time, stretching out the opposite heel. Just kind of gliding back and forth. Try and keep your weight back so that the heels of your hands, instead of feeling all this weight and pressure, they feel a little bit light. You can still keep gripping with your fingers and sending your hips way back and feeling a lift from underneath. Good. Come up onto your toes, walk your feet forward. Lift and spread all 10 toes. Lower them down again, keeping the space between your toes. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Press your feet deeply in towards the earth, and on your inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Exhale, bring your hands together in front of your heart. Release your hands by your sides. And just align yourself in Tadasana, feeling powerful and strong, with your knees lined up over your ankles, your hips over your knees, your shoulders over your hips, and your head, instead of pressing forward, keep it so it feels like it's kind of floating between your front ribs and your back ribs. So actually, when we're doing Wild Thing, we need to be able to invert our feet. That gives you like a stronger foundation. So we're just going to play with rolling your feet outward. You might want to step your feet a little wider, like hip distance apart, and then rolling your feet inward. And actually, when I rolled inward the last time, I let my knees go in. See if you can keep your knees forward, but lift the outside edge of your foot. And just kind of go back and forth. It's okay if your knees come in a little bit, but just try not to avoid just letting them knock together. Just kind of play with that, see how that feels. And now bring your feet a little closer together, bend your knees, and we're going to roll all around the circumference of the feet. So rolling to the outside, to the back, to the other side, and a little bit forward. And you can let the opposite edge of your foot come off. So as you roll to the inside of your right foot, the outside of the right foot lifts up. And as you roll to the outside of the left foot, the inside of the left foot lifts up. And let's reverse the direction of these circles. Good. So come back to stand. And now we're going to turn our feet out. Actually, keep your feet parallel and press into your toes, lift your heels up. Slowly lower down with control. And we'll do it again. So pressing into the big toe mound and the pinky toe mound, keeping like a kind of even weight in your foot, in your feet, and lower down. One more time. Staying nice and centered. And now let's open our feet out a little bit and lift up, trying to press more in toward the pinky toe side of the foot. So more toward the outside edge. It's very subtle. And now we'll bring our toes in and press more into the big toe side of the foot. So you feel more weight, more pressure on the inside edge of your foot. And see if you can lift up and down, nice and slowly and in control. Good, let's come back to center again and lift up and lower down. One more time, lift up, lower down. Let's come back to the front of our mat in Tadasana. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up. And on your exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Step back into plank. So Wild Thing does require some good core strength. Hug your legs in towards each other, lift your belly up, send your chest forward and your heels back. And see if you can just hold here. Keep gripping with your hands. And think of putting a little more weight towards your fingers, towards your fingertips. But from here, you can lower your knees or keep them lifted, and we're going to lower slowly all the way down. So with control, maintaining the slowness even as you get closer to the floor. And release your toes, press your feet into the earth, curl up into your cobra. And on an exhale, lower down. So do that a couple more times, and you decide how high up you're ready to go. You want to feel pretty good activation in your upper back. Now let's come back into tabletop. We're going to kind of practice some of the actions of going into Wild Thing when we're lower to the ground. So step your right foot back, stack your right hip on top of the left foot. So step your right foot back, rotate the heel down, and reach your arm up. And see if from here you can go into a little bit of a back bend. And come on back down. Same thing, other side. Stretch the left leg out, rotate the back heel down. Open up. Maybe a little bit of a back bend here. And bring your top hand down. Come back into your tabletop. Stretch your right leg back again. Then hug your knee into your chest. See if you can tap your right arm. And stretch your leg back. And tap it forward, squeezing up. Stretch it back. Tap it forward, squeezing up. Reach your leg back. Come into this low variation of kind of like a Wild Thing. And come back into tabletop. Stretch your left leg back. Hug your knee and tap your left arm high. Stretch your leg back. Hug it in. Stretch it back. Hug it in. Rotate your heel down. Open up. Lifting up through your chest, up through the ribs. Little gentle back bend here. And come back into your tabletop position. So back to the right side. Stretch your right leg back. Then hug your knee nice and tight. Lower your knee towards your wrist and pull it back up again. And lower down. Exhale, pull it up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, pull it up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, pull it up. And set your knee back into your tabletop, and just I like to just move my spine. It's kind of a spontaneous movement, spontaneous motion. And stretch your left leg back. Hug your knee in, pull it up nice and tall. Tall on your arm. Stretch it back, and hug it in. And stretch it back, hug it in, and then slide your knee down. Exhale, pull it up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Step back into tabletop. You should feel like everything getting warmed up. So it's like I can feel my whole body starting to generate heat, radiate heat, especially it's a warm day. And stretch your right leg back again. This time we're gonna pull our knee up to our armpit, lower down to the wrist, reach across to the opposite wrist, and pull up. Just making like kind of a box-like shape. So we'll do it one more time. Good, step it back. And same thing other side. So stretch your left leg back. Pull your knee up nice and high. Lower it down by your wrist. Cross to the opposite wrist. Lift it up. Bring it across. Lower down. Across. Lift. Across. One more. Lower down. Across. Lift up. Across. And back into your tabletop. And back into child's pose. Take a little rest here. And lift your hips, tuck your toes, stretch up and back into downward facing dog. And take a few breaths here to move around in your down dog. Establish your foundation, and a foundation that allows you to have freedom to move. And step your left foot in a little bit, sweep your right leg up. Pull your knee to your upper arm, lower your knee down by your wrist, swing your knee across to the other arm, pull it up, and we'll do 2 more of those. So lower, across, lift, come back across, lower, across, lift, come back across, stretch it back to your down dog. Same thing, other side, sweep the left leg up, hug your knee forward, up high, lower down, reach across, pull up again, 2 more times, across, lower, across again, lift, across, lower, across, lift, oh, and stretch back to your downward facing dog. Now let's come down onto our hands and knees. And we'll come into forearm plank. So lower your forearms down, step your feet back, push your hands down into the ground, push your feet downward, hug in as well, finding this sense of stability. Then roll to the outside edge of your left foot. Stack your right foot on top or in front. Think of lifting your hips up and reaching your arm up. Try and keep this bottom shoulder moving back. Good, lower back down again. We'll do same thing other side. So coming onto the right forearm, the outside edge of the right foot. The left foot can be stacked or stretched forward, and lift your ribs, open up. Come on back down. We'll do that one more time each side. This time I'm gonna stack. So stacking your feet if you can. Lift your hips up high and try and reach with your big toe mound toward the ground. This is that E version I was talking about. Good, come on back down. Switch sides. Stack the feet, lift the hips high, and reach up. Good, lower back down. Bend your knees, rest back into your child's pose. We're gonna get ready to come right into wild thing. Well, actually, there's one more thing I wanted to do first here. So come back into tabletop. Stretch your right leg back. Step your foot behind you. Open up. Then pick your right leg up, keep it nice and high, and start to swing it forward. So your foot lowers down, coming into a nice twist. Lower your right hand down, twist to the left. Come back down, step back into your tabletop. We'll do the same thing on the left side. So stretch your left leg back. Lift it up, reach it behind you, and open up. Then lift your leg back up again. Keep it lifted and see if you can bring it all the way forward to the front of your mat. Lower your hand down, find a nice twist, and twist to the other side. And back to downward facing dog. So Wild Thing is like starting from a side plank and stepping your top leg behind you. So bring your left hand a little closer to the center of your mat. Pivot onto the outside edge of your left foot. Try and lift your hips high and press your big toe mound forward. Reach your top arm up. Then just step your leg behind you, push down to lift up, coming into Wild Thing. Good, come on back down, and we'll switch sides. So I like to bring my hand a little more toward the center of the mat. Come onto the outside edge of your right foot. Lift your hips up nice and high, reach your arm up. Then you can just kind of slide your leg behind you, pressing down into both feet, lifting up nice and tall. And come on back to your downward facing dog. And I think it can be nice to take a little break, give your hands a break. So you can shake your hands out, interlace your fingers, stretch your arms forward and back. And maybe even pull your fingers back with the wrists either straight or bent. And you can always pause, like no matter, anytime you're on the mat, if your hands start bothering you, if your wrists start bothering you, then take some time to stretch them out, give them a break. So let's proceed. Stretch back into your down dog. Bring the left hand in a little bit, rotate to the outside edge of the left foot. Lift your hips nice and high like an arch and reach your arm up. Now from here, you can either step back like we just did, or you can try lifting your leg up and then stepping it back. Open up to your Wild Thing. And come on back to your down dog. Other side, so bring the right hand in a little bit, rotate to the outside edge of the right foot. What I like to do is bend the knee and try and press down into the big toe mound as well. That helps to give you a more balanced foundation. Lift your hips up nice and tall. Reach your leg up and step it behind you. Open up, Wild Thing. Come on back down. Again, we'll just rest in child's pose for a couple of breaths to relax our wrists. So you can feel free to do the same variations we just did, or we can add on, okay? So, downward facing dog, please. Bring the left hand in a little bit, rotate to the outside edge of the left foot, bend your knees, try and keep the left big toe mount as much pressing into the floor as you can. Reach your right arm up. Then from here, reach your right leg up, step it behind you, Wild Thing. And now we're gonna switch hands and bring this top leg underneath us and reach it across to the other side. So I'm gonna come down, bring the right hand down, pivot on my back foot, stretch my right leg forward, and come back to downward facing dog. Take a little break here. We'll do the same thing other side. So bring the right hand in a little bit, come to the outside edge of the right foot, lift up nice and tall. Stretch your left leg up, step it behind you, open up into your Wild Thing. And then we're gonna rotate, bring the left hand down, pivot on the right foot. Stretch the left leg out, or it could be on the floor. And come back to your downward facing dog. Rest again in child's pose. So the last variation we're going to play with is what we just did, and then see if we can keep our leg that's bent up in the air, see if we can bring it all the way forward into a lunge. Okay, so downward facing dog. Bring the left hand in a little bit. Come to the outside edge of the left foot. Press into the big toe mound. Reach your right arm up. Reach the right leg up. Step it behind you for your wild thing. And then we're going to pivot. Cross it to the other side. Come back into our wild thing. Then pick your leg up. And see if you can slowly, you could hold your foot, your leg, and slowly bring it all the way forward, pivoting on your back foot, bringing your foot forward to a lunge. Keep the back heel lifted and rise up, crescent lunge. Noticing if you have a feeling of freedom and power and strength from playing with our wild thing variations. So let's come back into our down dog and play with the other side. So right hand comes in a little bit, rotate to the outside edge of the left foot. Start with your knees bent. Press down through your big toe mound as you lift up through your hips, reaching your arm up, reach your leg up, step it behind you. Full wild thing. And then we'll bring our hand down as we pivot on our back foot. Stretch your left leg forward or to the floor. And come back into our wild thing. So I have to hop around on my foot sometimes. Lift your arm and leg up. And now, come back into your full wild thing. Just take a few moments in your squat to just kind of drift around on your feet, a little wavering action here. And let your back kind of stretch out, elongate, and lower your feet to the floor. Slowly come onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest and gently roll into a twist to your right. So after doing back bends, it's always nice to do some twisting to kind of counter the big open back bend. And wild thing isn't as full as a full back bend, but it still can be a pretty nice heart opening, front body opener. And just let your body relax here in this nice, easy, gentle twist. And pull your left hip back down to the ground to come back up to center. Shift your hips a little bit to the right. Pull your knees back up again and gently twist over to the left. And let everything relax here. Just feel your breath giving you a nice soft massage. And pull your right hip down to come back to center. You can center your hips, bring your feet as wide as the mat. Begin to gently and slowly twist from side to side. Nice and easy. And come back to center. Float your feet up in the air over your hips and float your arms up over your shoulders. Just giving your feet and your hands a nice rest in this inverted position. Let your whole back more or less flatten to the floor. Feel the back of your shoulder blades relaxing on the floor, so they're not lifted at all, but they're just relaxed downward. Even though the hands are lifted, the shoulders are down, back. And enjoy this sensation of reversing the field of gravity on your arms and legs. So it's a good idea to practice these inversions as often as you can. Even if it was just for a few minutes. Every day, get in the habit. Every other day, whenever you can. We're going to stay here a little bit longer so you can feel how your body just gradually releases more and more. The idea is for your legs to feel light, your arms to feel light, your feet and your hands to be relaxed. Now let's start to circle our ankles. And reverse the direction of the circles. Ankle mobility is really important, as well as ankle strength. And we can circle our wrists and our feet together. Reverse the direction of the circles. And then just hover again, just letting everything relax and let go. And bend your knees, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug. You can even lift up towards your knees if you like. And lower back down, release your arms out to the side with the palms up. Stretch your legs out nice and long. Let your feet flop open. And notice if you have a feeling of feeling wild and free as you're relaxing, as you're letting go. Because part of freedom is being able to let go. And in some ways, if you think about it, it might be kind of wild to let go of certain things that are really familiar to you, or that you're holding on to, or that you no longer need. Feel your hands relaxing. And imagine holding a ball of energy in the palm of your hands. Feel your feet relaxing. And imagine a glow of energy surrounding your feet. And just have the intention to be fully present in this moment with your physical body, with your emotional body. And see if you can find a sweet surrender. And feel the breath giving your body a gentle massage. Just through the movement of the breath, as the lungs move, they move the ribs, and they press into the diaphragm, and the diaphragm presses into your intestines. Everything is connected in our body. So So even the simple, yet as I say simple, maybe complex movement of your breath has the potential to affect every cell of your body. So I'm going to stay with you in silence for maybe another minute or two. Begin to bring some gentle, soft movement into your fingers and toes. And gently stretch out through your arms and legs. Whenever you're ready, bend your knees and gently roll to your side and pause. You know, being wild is a primal feeling, and sometimes we can feel restricted in our daily lives. So it's fun to just take some time to be wild, to have fun, to challenge yourself, to see what you learn, to fall, to get up, to try again. All these things are so invaluable. Keeping your eyes closed, gently roll up to a comfortable seat. And take a moment to tune into your breath again. And set the breath free by relaxing, by filling up your rib cage, filling up the lungs. So you feel movement in your back body, in your front body, in your side bodies. Let your shoulders relax away from your ears. And feel and appreciate the fullness of each inhale and each exhale. Please bring your hands together in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you again on the mat soon. Please leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. I'd love it if you hit the notification button so that you're notified of new videos as I post them. And again, thank you and have a great day. Bye for now.